Today is our Ingathering service. We begin with the full work of the congregation today, with seasons and holidays to celebrate, more meetings to attend, and good work to do. Music going strong, more programs and activities. Some people who have taken off for the summer have returned. About 35 years ago, I joined a Unitarian Universalist congregation. In those days, most Unitarian Universalist congregations ceased having regular worship services in July and August. The worship committees only had to plan services on the Sundays, the rest of the months, when the minister was not in the pulpit, and that wound up being 12 to 14 times a year. Well, our evolution since then led us to realize that many people wanted services year-round, and that people looking for a church home might not remember to visit in September after a two-month worship hiatus. The ingathering service used to be the time when the congregations woke up to full activity. For us, though, now, this is not so much an awakening as it is a time when we are more intent upon the mission of the congregation. We are more aware of this change this year than in previous years. This is a time of change, of envisioning, of hope. The opening hymn today had the words, "Gather in hope, compassion, and strength." These are important words for the work of this congregation in the next year. This is a year when you will experience many changes. In these times, this congregation will need to flow together with hope for the future, compassion for our larger society and each other, and acknowledge the real strength that you have. This church year, your congregation will be seeking a new minister. As your developmental minister, my time with you has been intentionally short. At this time, there's a task force considering ways that the congregation can become more sustainable for a brighter future. There is also another task force considering future directions with a Unitarian Universalist minister. 15 years ago, there were only two kinds of vocational ministers serving Unitarian Universalist congregations. Now there are many more ways for congregations to be in relationship with a minister, and the search process can take different forms that I've never encountered before. These two groups, the Sustainability and Minister Task Force, will be making recommendations for the best outcomes in your shared ministry with each other. They are working diligently for your future. Another shift in congregational life is that, as this is probably my last year with you, I will be functioning more like an interim minister than as a developmental minister. In other words, I will be preparing you for the next person to come and stand here. And I will be focusing on helping you learn to relate in different ways to clergy. We will also be considering new directions in the congregation's ministries and re-examining pastoral expectations. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. This year we will also be practicing compassion. This compassion might be for each other. We know that life is full of trying and painful moments. It is the shared spiritual journey together to support each other through those times that keeps us whole. This congregation will be there for those who ask for spiritual support, and sometimes logistical support through the pastoral care committee, the minister, and the church family. Our compassion does not end there, though. Compassion combines with strength in social service and work for a more just and equitable society, indeed, a more just and equitable world. Compassion calls us to help those who are in need, Our Unitarian Universalist principles call us to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, and the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. These are not only words on a page for us, as our joys and sorrows told us. They are a way of spiritual life of Unitarian Universalists. In this coming church year, we will address the needs of service and advocacy. To me, it seems that our nation is descending into fascism, a form of dictatorship that coalesces around a leader who claims to enforce law and order while discerning who is right and wrong for participation in the state. I have read books about fascism. It is not like other forms of dictatorship and is difficult to define, but no one knows it when one sees it. There are currently fanatically loyal masked men roaming through this nation who can arrest people, detaining them without having to report to anyone, and without providing those detainees with regard to their rights under the United States Constitution. This is what dictatorships do. Our congregation, in whatever way we can, should examine what we can do under these circumstances. And lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender persons, and people with other identities are being threatened with losing their civil rights as well. As a welcoming congregation, we will consider the ways that we can help those communities. Our multicultural committee is working on ways to link our congregation with an organization that we can work with in this cause. As distressing as our times are, we are still a community of hope, lest we feel overpowered by what is happening and think we are just too small a group to make a difference. Let us recall the words of Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small community of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I don't know if you share my feelings, but sometimes I need to remember words of hope in the midst of despair, remembering that we have compassion and strength with each other. These are the ways that we can have hope, compassion, and strength. We gather to celebrate community that offers us hope, encourages us to believe that good things can happen. We gather to explore religious ideas and consider how they might or might not integrate into our beliefs. We gather to celebrate the idea of a world that shares some of our principles. We gather to be reminded of love when that seems so absent. I would end today with the words of A. Powell Davies that we read earlier to remind us of the hope that lives in a Unitarian Universalist religious community. He writes, "None of our private worlds is big enough for us to live a wholesome life in. We need the wider world of joy and wonder, of purpose and venture, of toil and tears. What are we, any of us, but strangers and sojourners, forlornly wandering through the nighttime until we draw together and find the meaning of our lives in one another, dissolving our fears in each other's courage, making music together, and lighting torches to guide us through the dark. We belong together. Love is what we need, to love and be loved. Let our hearts be open, and what we would receive from others, let us give. For what we give still remains to bless the giver when the gift is love. So be it. Blessed be. Amen.